The world of Red Dead Redemption 2 is full of mystery, from abandoned towns to plague-ridden communities to estranged ways of life. Many people dare not to venture near these areas for fear of their own safety, but sometimes, even in the most regular of places, there are still dark corners hidden away from society, secrets that are never meant to be revealed. And now, we're going to be looking at two of those secrets, and how they are somehow intertwined with one another. You're listening to Phil of Philby Gaming, and welcome to today's video, The Demonic Connection, the Braithwaits and Butchers Creek. The Braithwaite family originated from England in the United Kingdom. They established themselves in the United States around 1779. By the 19th century, they both owned and managed a large slave plantation, which was operated from their manor just outside the town of Rhodes. They quickly became one of the richest and most powerful families in the state and would commit heinous crimes without any fear of the consequences. But with the end of slavery coming in 1865 and the defeat of the South during the Civil War, the Braithwaites suffered a terrible financial loss. But even with this loss, the family would still pride themselves on reputation and refuse to allow anyone or anything to tarnish their name. But everybody has their secrets. Sometime during the early 1880s, a young girl named Gertrude Braithwaite was born, daughter to the current head of the family, Catherine. Gertrude was a beautiful young lady, but unfortunately, as she grew older, she began to lose a battle with her mind and become mentally unwell. Instead of sending young Gertrude to a sanitarium to give her the help that she would need, Catherine would decide against this, as she feared that the family would be brought to shame if the outside world learnt of her daughter's mental health. So instead, she did something much, much worse. Catherine Braithwaite decided to lock away her daughter, away from civilization and away from her own family. Gertrude wasn't even allowed inside the home. She would be banished to the woods at the rear of the manor, locked inside an old outhouse. This once beautiful girl would begin to succumb to the elements, changing her appearance dramatically. She would develop a cleft lip, no doubt brought on by the stress of isolation, and with no way to even clean herself, her skin would become infected and most of her hair would begin to fall out. The already present mental difficulties would further advance too, leading to constant incoherent ramblings.
Who's out there? Somebody's out there. What do you want? Want a kiss?
During one mission with Penelope Braithwaite, where Arthur is instructed to take her to the train station, Penelope will express discomfort at being there, as shown in the following clip.
That's my poor cousin. There's no helping her. Believe me, I've tried. This is painful for me. Can we go? Leave her.
I knew how you Braithwaites treated enemies. Now I know how you treat Ken, too.
It's a great shame on a family that's shamed already. I told myself she was better off here with family than in a sanatorium, but maybe she isn't. I'll do what I can from Boston for her.
Sure you will. God damn.
Penelope is clearly upset about the treatment of her cousin and vows to try and help her from Chicago. Her compassion and understanding may come from her love of reading. When herself and Arthur are first introduced, Penelope is reading the infamous Charlotte Bronte novel, Jane Eyre. Readers of the novel may come to remember that in chapter 26 of the title, a character named Bertha Antoinetta Mason is introduced. A troubled person whom James' first encounter is described as the following. In the deep shade, at the farther end of the room, a figure ran backwards and forwards. What it was, whether beast or human being, one could not, at first sight, tell. It snatched and growled like some strange wild animal, but it was covered with clothing, and a quantity of dark grizzled hair, wild as a mane, hid its head and face. This, of course, is a striking resemblance to Gertrude Braithwaite. Gertrude Braithwaite constantly fires off a series of numbers, seemingly in a random order.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 17, 3, 4, 17, 29, 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 17, 8, 9, 3, 1, 2, 4, 7, 5, 9, 1.
But do the numbers mean anything, or are they just the ramblings of a troubled mind? There is one pattern that Gertrude sticks to. She is sometimes able to count in order from 1 to 5. Is this simply because she was locked away as a child and had no education, or is it something else? Maybe there is a reason she stops at number 5. Some believe that Gertrude is just suffering from a troubled mind, but others believe that it may be some form of a demonic possession. Gertrude's entire existence is confined to that one outhouse, with one hole acting as a small window to the world. That view from the small window shows us nothing but woods and a partial fence in the background. She can't even see her family home. But what if Gertrude is seeing something that nobody else can see? For this, let's take a look at the map and see just what, no matter how far, is in her line of sight. At the outhouse, with its water to the rear, Gertrude is facing in this direction. Out past roads, up the Camisar River, lays the place within a direct line of sight for Gertrude. Butchers Creek is an isolated community, located in Roanoke Ridge. The residents there live a simple life, sleeping in broken down shacks and living off the land. The area is surrounded by the dangerous Nightfolk gang, who prey on civilians and thrive in both torture and murder. For some reason, the Nightfolk will not enter Butchers Creek, nor will they attack the residents. Is there something there keeping them away? There's a side quest within the game, titled The Wisdom of the Elders. It begins by finding this gentleman by a river who seems unwell. He keeps repeating the words Butchers Creek over and over. Unsure of what's wrong, Arthur returns the man to his home. We soon learn, after revisiting the area, that the citizens of Butchers Creek believe that they are under some form of a curse.
Be gone, sir! Be gone! Not because we cares not. No, but because we cares.
What are you talking about?
Demons have us by the throat, sir! It's the darkness! The darkness, it's everywhere. He was right!
What are you talking about?
They come in darkness. They're coming!
A man, going by the moniker of the Shaman, continues to convince the villagers that the curse is real. After defending the village from wild dogs and destroying apparent curse charms that are protecting the spirits, Arthur eventually learns that the shaman was a farce hired by the Roanoke Fuel Company to convince the residents to flee the village, all the while poisoning their drinking water supply and infecting the fish that they consume.
No, you don't look right.
Even after Arthur had proven that the curse was false, the villagers are still not convinced and continue to live their lives in fear. Maybe they are right.
Now you heard it.
It's taken me! Oh, dear. Dear God, there's no arguing. It's clear as day. We're cursed.
Curse? What are you talking about?
Powerful forces have taken on this town.
It ain't spirits. It's a mining company.
No, it is spirits. Spirits taken through a mining company. Brothers and sisters, we got some praying to do.
There are several of both the village residents and the animals that are somewhat deformed, one in particular in an extreme manner. Was this the result of the poisoning, or was it something else? Now here is where things become really strange. There are several outhouses in Butchers Creek, and each one has a number carved inside. There is a connection as to why the outhouses are numbered. Let me explain. There are 5 in total, numbered from 1 going upwards. If we visit each outhouse and mark their locations on the map, it reveals something very interesting. Starting from number 1, leading to number 2, on to number 3, crossing to number 4, then to number 5 at the bridge, and finally back to number 1. The location of the outhouses form the shape of a pentagram, which is often used as both a magic and mystical symbol, indicating the possibility of a demonic presence. Towards the end of Butchers Creek is a destroyed home. It seems just to be an old shack, not much use to anyone. But if you visit this location at around 4 AM, you will see the following. For those who couldn't quite make out what that was, I've used the FreeCam mod so you can get a better view. Whatever happened to this burned down house was definitely caused by something spiritual. But how does this all tie in with Gertrude Braithwaite? Let us think back a little. It seemed at first that the numbers she was rambling were just that, ramblings, but she could count up to 5. And now we know the locations of the outhouses in Butchers Creek and that they form a pentagram, and with this being in a direct line of sight, it seems that somehow Gertrude Braithwaite is under the same curse as the villagers. She was counting the points of the pentagram. Also, she resides in an outhouse herself. I think that the other numbers she was spouting was her possibly trying to figure out which number she may be.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 17, 3, 4.
Her entire family had abandoned her and left her to rot. She had nothing in this world. These demonic forces, whatever they may be, preyed on the vulnerable Gertrude. Unfortunately for Gertrude Braithwaite, she would remain in the outhouse for the rest of her life. She would die all alone. Penelope never kept her promise to help her after she left for Chicago, and the villagers of Butchers Creek forever remained under the curse. I hope you enjoyed today's video. You've been listening to Phil of Philby Gaming. Let me know down in the comment section if you have any theories to this, as that's all this was, a theory. If you guys wish to get in touch, you can find me over on Instagram, that's at Philby Gaming. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to be the first alerted every time a new video is produced. Thank you to those who made it to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.
4, 17, 29, 13.